Hi, are you installing laminate from one room into the other with a transition in between and you're not quite sure how to get your flooring to line up perfectly where the lines look exactly straight? Well, stick around. We're going to show you how to do that here on Flooring Tips and Tricks with U-Floor. Hi, welcome to U-Floor, Flooring Tips and Tricks. I'm your host, Zanone Hunt. Today we're going to be going over how to line up your new flooring with the existing flooring when there's a transition in between. Now sometimes our customers will request that we do one room at a time, and then as they acquire more finances, they'll want to do additional rooms later on down the line. So when we install one room, we have to come back later on. We need to line up those boards with the other boards that are already existing. So today I'm going to be going over how I do it to make sure that I line it up perfectly straight with the existing floor and I keep it straight within the other room that I'm connecting it to. So stay tuned for that. Okay, so we want to line our bedroom flooring up with our hallway flooring. As I slide this board into place, I want to make a note that there will be a 3/4 inch gap right here for the transition to be installed later. But for the purpose of lining this up straight, I'm going to butt the end right up to the one in the hallway. Now, the way I get this truly straight, I take a full board, or if you have a straight edge, it works even better. But I want to line it up with these black lines until it is perfectly straight. Now take your time with this, because this is the most important part for finding all the measurements you're about to take. It may take a minute, but it's worth it in the end. Remember, I'm not lining up the board with the boards on the bottom. I'm only using this board as a straight edge. If you have a straight edge on hand, it is a lot easier, but this will work at a pinch. And now that I have it lined up with the hall and it is perfectly straight, I can start marking my first board in the room. So I start with a full piece because it lands perfectly on the overlap in the hallway. The way these boards are made, we usually start from the opposite end, but for the purpose of lining up the room with the hallway, we will get the first row down and start from the other side and lock our first couple of rows in and then push it back up to the wall. Now from the baseboard to the edge of the board, not the tongue but the actual color part, I have exactly 3 inches, so I will mark it 1/4 inch less to allow for expansion, and that will make it 2 3/4 inches wide. So I'll go to my board and I mark it 2 3/4. I need the top part, so make sure you're marking the correct side. Now all these boards that meet the transition should stop at about 1/4 inch past the door jamb. So you need to measure from there back to where the wood is going to stop under the other door jamb. It looks like about 11 1/8. So I measure from the end of the board 11 1/8 and I make a mark on my board. Now some installers just cut these square, but what I generally like to do is come over about 1/2 inch from where the line will be going out to make a 90-degree angle, and then just freehand it back at an angle about 2 3/4 inch to make sure that there's no holes or gaps when I'm installing quarter round. Now one thing I want to show you is we're going to have to put a transition over here, so I'm going to have to find out what the rest of my board is going to be with the gap included for a transition. So my measurement for the gap is about 4 inches. So I go back to my board and I go back and transfer that number to the other end of my board, marking 4 inches all the way down. All this extra stuff right here all gets cut out. One last thing. On this piece, remember we pulled off the other end to go past the jamb. So we need to trim off the small part behind the door so our board slides closer to the hall under the door jamb. Basically what I'm doing is just taking a 1/2 inch off the end of this and making this little angle thing towards the end of it. It'll look the same under all door jambs. There, see the little angle piece? And now right here there's going to be a little part that sticks out. So I want to come over and transfer that over to make sure there's no gaps when sliding this underneath. Alright, so we're going to go cut this piece and come back and see how it fits. Now that we have the measurement from our baseboard to the board and from our transition to the board, we want to make sure we use these same numbers all the way. So I have baseboard here, and I have baseboard here, and I also have baseboard right here. So I want to use that same number that I used right there, right here, and over here. That's to keep it straight. And from our transition to right here, I want to transfer that number over to the other side of the doorway, so when I push it up, it's perfectly straight. This is the finished product right here. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I'll be glad to answer.